Hey, how you guys doing? Today I want to talk about Joshua, one of the Bible's greats. And specifically I want to focus in on Joshua's faith. Now we all know what Joshua is most famous for, his conquest of Jericho, and how he marched around Jericho and those walls came tumbling down and he went right in there. The cool thing about Jericho is this is a big city, powerful, big walls. The Bible says it has valiant warriors, so these guys know how to fight. And this big city is standing in between Joshua and the promised land, in the fullness of the promised land. Now, like Joshua, many of us feel that we have received promises from the Lord. The Lord has spoke things into our hearts. We feel the life on them. It's a part of our destiny. Now, we can all agree that it was a part of Israel's destiny to inherit the promised land, and they did. So, but along the way, the promised land just didn't fall on their laps. They had to take charge, step into the promises that God gave them. And some of the things they were able to do by their own hand, but some of the things that the Israelites did could only be done by the hand of God. That's very similar to us. There's promises that the Lord has for us that we can naturally do in the natural. We got to step into it. But there's other things where we need a Joshua faith, where we got to step into a situation, and I'm going to explain that. So Joshua's coming up on Jericho, and he sends two of his spies in there. The spies search and search and search the city. It does not say they find a way in. The one weakness they find is the fear of the people in Jericho. The Jericho people are scared because they know that God's with the Israelites. They heard the stories, they heard the testimonies, and now they know that Israel is marching up on Jericho. So they get fearful. It says that the hearts of every man melted and no courage was left. That's from the power of God. So these spies go back and report this to Joshua, and Joshua immediately says the land is ours for two reasons. One, because he saw the weakness of fear, and we all know that if you give in to fear, fear cripples. Have you ever seen someone who's scared of getting sick or scared of sickness? As soon as they get a pain or some kind of abnormality, they get scared. They get fearful. Or, workplace or at school, kids at school or people at workplace, if there's some kind of a thing that can cause fear, usually people want to miss a couple days or go in hiding. Fear cripples you. And so in the same way, this type of fear crippled the people of Jericho. So Joshua musters up his faith and he decides to march in on the land because he knows the promised land is his. He knows that God is with him, and he knows that Jericho is just another bump that he has to destroy. So, also knowing this, it says that Jericho was shut up tight. Okay, so there's no way in and no way out. So Joshua still decides, I'm going to march on this city. And he is marching towards Jericho, knowing that they have not yet found a way in. And the cool thing about this is, he knows that they haven't found a way in, but as long as he marches in upon the land, God is going to provide a way. And so the eve of battle, before he marches in on Jericho, an angel of the Lord comes to him and says this, Joshua 6 verse 1. Now Jericho was shut tightly because of the sons of Israel. No one went in or out, and no one came in. And the Lord said to Joshua, See, I have given Jericho into your hands, with its kings and its valiant warriors. And you shall march around the city with all your men. And we know the story. You shall do this for 7 days. For the first 6, do it once. On the 7th day, march around 7 times and blow your shofars, blow your horns, and let out a great shout. And the Lord will deliver the city. The interesting thing about this is the only thing that took the wall down was marching and shouting. Now this is the very cool part about it. Any battle you're going to attack a wall, if you were to break rock, there'd be pieces of rock around. But check out this testimony. When they walk around for 7 days, they blow their shofars. It says, So when the people shouted and the priests blew the trumpets, this is 6 verse 20, and it came about when the people heard the sound of the trumpet that the people shouted a great shout, and the wall fell down flat. Okay? So picture a stone wall, stone, high. This thing was built to defend. This thing was built for the very purpose of warding off enemies and attackers. One shout, a great shout from the people, and all of a sudden the wall falls down flat. The Lord demolished that wall, made it fine as dust, and Israel could then charge in and take the land. Now, why did the Lord do this? There are some things the Lord wants you to walk into, but there are some things in your life today, just like Joshua and the Israelites, where it's going to take a Joshua faith, where you can't see the answer right in front of you, where it doesn't make sense, where you can't logically think up how you're going to get through this. Because in order to get to the fullness of the promise, which is the promised land, they had stepped foot in the promised land. Many of us have stepped foot into our promises, but now the next step is conquering Jericho, and that is conquering a thing that we know we can't beat on our own, and it only needs a mighty act of God. Without a mighty act of God, it is not coming down. When Jesus meets Thomas, Thomas didn't believe that Jesus had resurrected from the dead. He said, I need to feel his hands and feel his side. And this is John 20:26. After 8 days, Again, he appeared to his disciples, and Thomas was with them. Jesus came in, and the doors had been shut, and he stood in their midst, and he said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Reach here your finger, and see my hands, and reach in here your hand, and put it in my side. And be not unbelieving, but believing." And Thomas answered and said to him, "My Lord, my God." And Jesus said to him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed, but blessed are those who have not seen me and still believe." There's something big in that faith that you know that this is too big for me, but when you take a step out and to try to fulfill the promise that's a part of your life, and you know that the only way you're going to get through this is by a mighty act of God, God will reward that, and the fullness of your promise will come to you. So I want to encourage you with that. Even though you can't see how it's going to happen, even though we can't logically think it up, you put your trust in God. You march on that stinking wall anyways, and God's going to bring it down because your faith knows that God's going to prepare the way for you. God bless you guys. Take care.